Everyone was kung fu fighting, that's for sure. This here, the Chinese dou, which essentially just translates directly as knife, is the name for any single-edged Chinese sword. Now these don't get a lot of love. Not as much as, say, a katana or a saber or any other European swords. However, as you can see from that cut test, these are absolutely stunning to use. They are just amazing if you get a good quality one. Now this is absolutely premium, and we're going to take a close look at it today. You can't buy one of these, this is custom, but I don't mind showing it off to you because I just love this sword so much. We're going to have a look at the anatomy of a very good quality Chinese dou. On first inspection, you can see here that the dou weighs in very close to spot on 900 grams. Note too the point of balance, it's very close to the guard there, giving you a highly fast and highly manoeuvrable blade. Cheaper douls are a lot heavier and have a much less desirable point of balance in the blade. Okay, first things first, we'll look at the blade, the most important part of any sword. Now as you can see here, there's a maker's mark. It looks like it's stamped in, it's probably more of a factory than an individual. Now, Chinese swords often have them here, the Japanese swords have the maker's name hidden here underneath the handle. You have to dismantle them to check it. As you can see, there's double fullers down most of the blade there. Mirror finish, just beautiful. Now, most cheap douls do not have fullers at all. They're just a flat piece of blade, and they don't have distal taper. Now we'll have a close look at that. You see it starts fairly thick, and it gradually tapers down to the point. Very nice. And the profile of the blade is just stunning. I don't know how well this is going to come out, but it is just, I don't know if you can see that. You can literally... You can just feel how sharp that is just by looking down the profile of that edge. It is just so nice. Oh, look at that. Now, obviously the fittings are of secondary importance to the quality of blade. However, as in the case with this one, having really nice fittings can elevate the sword as a whole. And these are just absolutely superb if you look at the detail there. If you look at the detail here on the guard. Now, most Asian swords, including katanas, just have a very simple guard and often as simply a disc like this. Now, as you can see, there's a tiny little, I don't know if you can tell, there's a little lip there. On some of them, it's actually more pronounced. The lip goes out this way a bit further. And sometimes in Chinese martial arts, they refer to this kind of guard as a blood cup. Because apparently you're going to be slicing so many dudes, there's going to be so much blood gushing down the blade during combat that you actually need a cup to catch it all in. Because you don't want it to go on the handle or make it slippery, which brings us to the handle. Now, Asian swords almost always have a cord or a cloth grip on the handle wrapped on. They don't often use leather like, say, sabers and some European swords do. Now, cheap Chinese douls literally have just bare timber here, and that can get kind of slippery. Having a cord grip or a material grip woven this way is definitely preferable. Now, as you can see here, this sword tassel is actually through the tang and through the handle, and it's got a very nice little button here which finishes it off. That's kind of important because on many of them the tang literally comes out the bottom here, and they just have like literally a 10mm screw or nut on the end, and you just tighten it up. No matter how much you tighten it up, it always comes loose. And whether they have a tassel like this or a lanyard or like the wushu practitioners have very long ribbons coming off the back here just for show, it's just literally on a key ring on a bolt, which is just screwed onto the tang. Very high quality ones like this definitely have this kind of setup here securing the blade in place, and it gives it, obviously that is not, you can belt that around, it's very solid. If there's any movement at all in any of these parts, that is a sign of poor quality, and this one is just so amazingly tight. I just cannot believe how tight that is. When it comes to scabbards, Chinese ones are more often not timber. Now, as you can see here, that absolutely gorgeous attention to detail continues here, just even on these like little little fittings here, just amazing. It's a very nice timber. I just love the grain pattern, as you can see, and there's one at the butt as well. This is all very solid. It's not coming off. It's not going anywhere. If you, something to look out for on the cheap ones is it's literally just a plate put on with one little tack holding it on. They not only fall off, but often you have like a little nail they put just holding it on, which protrudes inside and probably scratches the blade at some point when you're sheathing and unsheathing it. However, a good one has the absolutely best quality fittings on a really nice piece of timber. The one drawback, as you can see here, is that unlike katanas, they have a steel ring most of the time on the end of the scabbard. Now, katanas, you can literally do a quick draw out because it's all timber. The scabbard is completely timber and it doesn't dull the blade. So here, you've got to be a bit careful when you sheath and unsheath the blade. You don't want to rub the end into this part here because it'll essentially dull and possibly damage the edge. Well, there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my personal Chinese doll. Now, obviously this is not commercially available, however there are manufacturers out there who are making high quality Chinese swords, and you can purchase one online which will perform just as well as this. It might not be quite as extravagant in the fittings and the artistry of it all, but they definitely are just as nice to handle from what I've heard. And if you're into swords, hema, katanas, cut-in stuff, whatever, it's definitely worth getting one of these and putting it in collection if you're inclined to do so. And I hope just having a quick look at the anatomy of what makes a really good one today, you'll know how to pick yourself a really nice one and have some fun with it.